New at 5, we are breaking down the latest on the indictment of former President Donald Trump by a New York grand jury and how it differs from the investigation underway in Fulton County. 11 Alive's Karis Belger has been digging into this for us. She's joining us now with the very latest. Karis?
I spoke with a Georgia State law professor who explained, aside from the indictment itself, the potential evidence and list of people who could face charges makes the two cases very different.
A historic indictment, the first ever against a former president, returned by a New York grand jury against Donald Trump. The grand jury charged Trump in connection with a case involving alleged hush money payments made to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. But how does this case differ from the investigation currently happening in Fulton County, Georgia?
We do have a good idea that it's about falsifying a business record, so it's not one of these post-election insurrection-related cases.
GSU law professor attorney Anthony Kreis explains this case. The New York case stems from events prior to Trump taking office. The charges will likely center on Trump and the Trump Organization, and the charges could include falsification of business records, according to Kreis, a misdemeanor. But there's the question of whether it could be tied to a bigger scheme, which could potentially lead to Trump facing felony charges.
And that's why this particular case is being criticized by some people in legal circles.
The case in Fulton County, Kreis says, is a lot more linear, but more people than the former president could face charges.
Well, the case in Fulton County could involve not just Donald Trump, but a whole host of other people. So Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, the fake electors, Mark Meadows, right? There are a lot of different characters who were all potentially engaged in a broad conspiracy.
And while the Fulton County case has more to do with what happened after the 2020 election, the two cases, he says, don't overlap.
We really do have very different apple and orange kind of cases here in terms of the complexity and the amount of investigation and resources behind the investigation that were necessary.
And Anthony Kreis also emphasized one investigation won't have any influence on the other, meaning the Fulton County investigation may proceed regardless of what happens in New York.